So I have a few videos we're going to cover today, and this first one is of a woman, and I've covered her here before, but basically she decides to start approaching men, which is good in a way, but then she posts this video saying that she's tired of approaching men after a week. Now, generally when people are not having fun with something, it means they're not succeeding with it.
I saw the hottest man. Honestly, I saw like 3 hot men today in my hot yasa class, like my hot yoga class. Why don't we say anything? Why do I have to be the one to say something? Fuck. I understand. It's so uncomfortable to like go up to someone cute and be like, hey. Because for every person that is like on TikTok being like, well, you could approach a man, like, bitch, I have been. And are the men just gonna be like, hey, do you want to grab a coffee? Hey, what's your name? Hey, do you go to this class a lot? Like, there are so many ways to slide in, and I'm kind of low-key pissed off that I'm, like, upset that I didn't say something to a man. What do you mean? Bitch, what do you mean? Why am I upset? I just don't understand why it's, like, not that easy for men, because it's so easy.
I mean, first she makes it sound like it's a really hard thing to approach men, and then she makes it sound like it's easy when it's the men that have to do it. So when he does it, it's easy, but when she does it, it's hard? No, lady, I think it's the complete opposite. I mean, in general, there's not that many men dating, but for the few that do, if a woman ever asks a man out and he rejects her, there has to be something seriously wrong with her, typically. But by the sounds of it, she wasn't even really asking the men out. She was just making conversation, or even worse, making eye contact, which women say is a cue, but it really is not. The other thing is that we tend to just exaggerate. So if she said she's been approaching men for a week, usually that means, she's maybe approached one person, and other than that, she's just made eye contact with the rest, and somehow that qualifies as approaching men. But this is just where it's going to head. If anybody dates at all, it's probably going to be the women approaching. And I mean, why not? It's safer. It's not that safe, but it's at least safer than when men approach. Because when it's the men approaching, you never know what's going to happen. It can get crazy. But if the women do decide to approach the men, the time to do that is in your 20s.
Go up to the girl and be like, no, just ask the question first. Just be like, hey, been doing this class a lot? And then, like, if the girl is uncomfortable or she has a man, she'll tell you. Trust me, she'll tell you. Why do I feel like I have to approach a man? Why can't the man just do it? Because it just hits even worse, and it's even more embarrassing when the girl shoots her shot, like when she already shouldn't be, and then the man's like, oh, I actually have a girlfriend.
I mean, lady, you're on camera with your hair in rollers and these claw hands with your closet in the background. I can't take you seriously. Now, I wouldn't say that it hits worse. I think a lot of women, they're just not used to the rejection. But when it comes to rejection, I mean, a lot of men aren't dating anyway, so women will have to get used to the rejection. I mean, the idea that women can't approach is just something that they themselves made up. It's not likely that a man's going to throw out a false accusation towards her. Now, where she says that if she has a man, she'll let you know, it depends who you are. If you're unnaturally attractive, or rich, or both, then she won't have a man, even if she does have one. If not, if he doesn't have those two things, then more than likely he'll be talked about on TikTok. I mean, TikTok women are crazy at a whole nother level. And the other thing I always observe with these videos of women crashing out that men don't approach is that they're typically not 20-year-olds. They're usually 30 and above, which means they've had their fun and they're seeing probably their friends getting married, having kids, and now they realize that they have to keep up this image, so obviously they're going to start approaching men.
It's sad to think about how a lot of men think that this is what needs to be true in order to, like, find a girlfriend or to be in a happy relationship. And what makes me sad about this is the fact that, like, men underestimate how far kindness goes. Genuinely, like, so many women have dealt with men that are just not kind, that don't act respectfully. And so the minute that a woman comes across a genuine guy who is kind and who is respectful and who treats a woman well, like, all of those things, the 6'9", the billionaire, being handsome, like, all of that goes out the window. You would be so surprised to see girls choose the nice guy and, like, actually be happy and be in a very satisfying relationship.
Yeah, that is some horrible advice right there. Yeah, being kind works with men. It doesn't work with women. I mean, this lady is either completely lying or she's just so out of touch with reality, it's not even funny. Women never want to admit to someone's face that they want the tall billionaire because it makes them look bad. It makes them look superficial and brainless because nothing is mentioned about his character. And the one thing that women always have to do is they have to always look good. They have to look moral and like they got their life together.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you can't afford a woman's lifestyle, then date within your budget. Stop shaming women for wanting what you can't provide.
I personally think that she's just mad that men aren't funding her lifestyle and she has to do it. And she did actually hashtag this video with harsh truth. I wouldn't say this is a harsh truth. I think this is delusion. I mean, shouldn't she instead be making a TikTok about how thankful she is for feminism, for giving her this freedom to be able to fund her own lifestyle? Because also, him funding her lifestyle and therefore controlling it, isn't that what feminists deem oppressive?
I just saw a guy post a video about 5 reasons why everyone's single right now. And it was just, he hit all the points so perfectly. If I remember his name, I'll like drop his name or tag it in the comments. But there was one point he talked about in particular that I thought was so interesting that not a lot of people talk about why everyone is single. And it's actually something I've seen a lot, especially used kind of as an excuse for men. But I just thought this point was really interesting because the obvious reasons are, social media, dating apps, etc., has ruined dating, which we know this. Yes, that's true. But another point he made is that a lot of people, like older generations, when they met when they were like super poor or like they didn't have to be like in a certain place in life in order to get into a relationship and get married. And now we see a lot of people today who use that as an excuse to not get into a relationship or not want something serious or not want marriage. They say that they need to do X, Y, and Z, or they need to make a certain amount of money in order to be in a relationship or feel comfortable to take something seriously. And I especially see this with men a lot, men that I've talked to, men that my girlfriends have talked to, even guy friends that I've talked to who are almost 30 and still not ready because they're not where they want to be in life, or they're not making a certain amount of money, or don't have that business that they've been wanting to start, which to a certain extent I get. Sometimes you do need to focus on yourself and you really just don't have time to bring another person into your life. But it gets to a certain point where I just feel like it's like, I'm sorry, but you're going to end up being single for the rest of your life. Like, I think that if you want a family, then prioritizing getting into a relationship is something that should be important to you, especially when you're in your late 20s. Because you're going to start running out of options. People are going to start getting into relationships and getting married, and your options become more and more limited the older you get. And one example I can think of is somebody that I know who is in their mid-30s already and is someone who is like posting and like reposting content about like having to like work on yourself, or like kings chase the crown and don't chase the queen, like that type of content. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but and this is a person that has said that like they do want to get married and have a family one day. And I'm like, you're already in your mid-30s and you're like consuming and liking this kind of content of like you still need to keep working on yourself and like achieve all these things, like just obviously like not prioritizing or like wanting to put any sort of effort into starting some sort of serious relationship.
Okay, whether he can afford the expensive lifestyle of most women these days is beside the point. It's the fact that most men don't want to waste their money on all that maintenance. Now, where she talks about men waiting till past 30 to even think about settling down, what she fails to mention is that women do not want to build up something with men. They don't want the guy that's not rich and doesn't have it all together. And I mean, first of all, a lot of men just aren't even dating now. And even if they do end up taking the option of dating way later, they still have the option to date. 30 years old is young for men, but it's old for women. But basically, men's options don't usually dwindle as they get older, but for women it does.